Okay, so I just finished watching episode 4 of the second season of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation, The Letter of Invitation. And once again, what a fantastic episode showing you everything that Mushoku Tensei can be. So, there is one thing I thought the episode dropped the ball on, but I'll touch on it at the end of the video. So, we start off, it's been a time skip. Like 2 years have passed, right? We don't know how long since he last saw Sara again. But Rudues is now a temporary member of Soldat's party, aka Bro Dad. I should have called him that at the end of that video. And they're fighting, and you get to see those bears again, and then a dragon pulls up. And I don't care what anybody says. You know that shot where the dragon shoots the fireball out, and then it looks like Rudy's about to get hit, but then he uses water to like dispel it, and then you get that shot of Rudy. We first see Rudy's face with his hood down. That is an elite shot. That's like A&V worthy kind of stuff right there. Elite. Then Rudy shows off his rock cannon and straight up murks that red dragon. I thought that entire battle was animated and showing us like how that adventuring like system in life really works. I wish we could see more of that, but that's not what Mushoku Tensei is. Even though I would love like a spin-off where we just follow like a random party in this world. I thought it was great. Obviously Soldat, and they work really well in the party. Too bad 2 people get got while Rudy and Soldat are arguing with each other about, hey, how come you didn't tell us the red dragon was coming? But I thought it was great. And you know, you see just how much Soldat or Brodat really cares for Rudy. And it was fun kind of seeing them all come together, and you know, they're bringing the dragon corpse back. Everybody's celebrating. People are basically glazing up. They're glazing up Rudy, and they go. I think you just see how that life works. I'm not gonna try and recap the whole episode like I did last time, but a standout person for me for episode 4 was the other Rudy. The Rudy we only hear like I guess the real Rudy, because we technically don't know his name from Earth. But you know, whenever he's thinking, we get that person's thoughts. I thought his voice acting in the episode was fantastic in terms of, you know, how his reactions to characters, his eventual conversation we got with a major returning character. We got a lot of returning characters at the end of the episode too, showing us what this season is going to be about. But you know, then let's dive in a little bit more. So they're at a tavern the next day. There's some bards glazing up how Rudy, like basically retelling how Rudy told us how Rudy killed that dragon. And then people think it's boring. Rudy is like, yo, I'm right here, bro. And then we get to meet Elena. I always say her name wrong. Elena, right? And she's not a stranger to us. We saw her in the first season getting ran through and when we were following Roxy for a little bit. So to a lot of people, Elena is like that anime aspect that is in every single show. You know, she's the fan service. She's the girl who is from the streets. But remember what I said last episode. Mushoku Tensei does nothing without a purpose. Okay, so there is a reason that she's that way, and I don't want to spoil it yet, but I thought she was fantastic. And then of course she walks up to Rudy, she's teasing, she's being flirtatious, and my favorite is that the bard group immediately understood the assignment. They just start setting up the mood. Rudy and the little eyes are talking, they're flirting a little bit, you know, and then it looks like, you know, she's touching him up. She's like, oh, look at you, you've been working out, because you know my boy, you know, Rudy's been running, doing them push-ups, them squats, you know, my boy is looking good, you know. And the first part is they show the thing of the whole bar, and it's like everybody's watching them, right? The bars are got the music just right. You know, it's like you ever go to the bar and then this girl just walks up to you, and then like or you go to the club and the DJ like sees it, and he's like, you know what? Let me go ahead and play that Lovers and Friends by Lil Jon. Let me set the mood. It was like awesome. The weirdest part was you saw that guy who was like underneath them, like on the wall underneath where they're sitting, because Rudy was sitting on like a platform, and he's just right there. And then you watching, it's coming up close. It looks like Elena is gonna try and make out with him, and then she sees Rudy's necklace that Sophie made for him, which is gonna come important later. There's so much I want to spoil, but I want to be respectful, and we're gonna get it eventually. I think we will get most of the things that were shown in this episode, we're going to get them by the end of the season. So it's going to be important. Don't worry about it. And then when Elena backs off, you see the whole bar again, or the tavern. They're all just crushed. Everybody's got their head down and they're like, fuck. And I was right there. I paused it. I was dying for like 10 minutes, just laughing my butt off. But then we get Rudy gets the invitation to the Roanoa Magic Academy, which, for those people who know, we first heard about it in like the 3rd episode of the season when Roxy was leaving after she tutored Rudy, right? She was leaving to go get stronger, and then they were going to come back, but Roxy told Rudy that he should eventually go to the Roanoa Magic Academy, which is basically like the premier, like, magical, like, institution in the world. And, you know, Rudy's been making his name like as Quagmire. So it's kind of like a quid pro quo. So whenever a magician makes a name for himself, not from the Magic Academy sends a letter to them, right? And then to invite them into the school as a special student. Basically, they don't have to pay tuition. They don't have to pay for anything, and they can study as much as they want and whatever. And, you know, and then once those guys leave, the academy can use those people as like free promotion. Because, you know, they got really famous, like, magicians who studied there. So it's like a quid pro quo. So in the beginning, Rudy was going to deny it because, you know, look, he finally, Elena tells him where his mother is. And he's going to be like, you know what, I'm going to head there to go meet up with his dad and the rest of his people. And also learns that Roxy's also there with Paul. And you got to see like a little bit of Paul Sins. Because, you know, Paul was in the streets too when he was younger before he settled down with Zenith. And Elena fucking hates Paul. She hates Paul. She hates him with a fucking passion, even though, you know, she's been smiling most of the time. And, you know, she hates him. So he talks to a few people, including a mage in Soldat's party who also went to the Magic Academy, and they basically convince Rudy to end up going. And what seals it for him, though, is the return of Hitogami, the man god. If you guys remember from the first season, the man guy would show up at certain times and talk to the old, I guess the real version of Rudy, so to speak. I put real in quotations, version of Rudy, where he'd give him like advice to like avoid certain things and certain that. But, you know, like, Rudy didn't fully trust him. I don't fully trust him, especially since I read the whole story, so I know what's going to happen. So I'm not trying to spoil anything, but he comes back in, kind of starts roasting Rudy a little bit, and then basically tells him, if you go find your mother right now, you're gonna regret it. And then Rudy calls him out, and then Hitogami says, go to the Magic Academy, cure your ED, and you're gonna also have a special reunion there and solve and research the problem of why the mass teleportation incident happened, where Eris and Rudy and basically everybody from that region was teleported to a different continent, was teleported all over the world basically. So yeah, the ending was after, like, you know, Rudy leaves the party, gets Soldat in this perfect, what a great way to write a tsundere right there. That's a great way to do it. And, you know, he's like, oh, I was only exploiting you. But, you know, Soldat, the minute Rudy leaves, Soldat's going to be fucking crushed. You know, it's not just because Rudy's an excellent mage, but, you know, they broed out, bro. But then he's like, you know what, I'll probably come Roanoke eventually. And then, you know, we'll go out drinking to fuck bitches, basically. And Rudy's like, hell yeah, bro, I'm down. So I think the thing that I really loved is that Soldat pushes him to start his journey, because, you know, you see Rudy kind of hesitating a little bit, and then Soldat pushes him to get him going. And I love that. I don't know why, I just love that from Soldat. As much as you really grow to hate him in the beginning because of just how much of an asshole he is, right? Like, you end up loving him because, you know, they bro out, and realistically, Soldat was really the first person to get Rudy to talk about what happened after Eris left, you know? And it was nice to see him push him, you know. So that's sad, but he's not gonna let Rudy, like, if Rudy moved forward. So it was awesome. Elena is following him too, and then we get to see a whole bunch of characters. We see Cliff from the OVA where Eris was hunting goblins, and Cliff was with him because Cliff fell in love with her, if I remember correctly. But then she sees how much, like, Cliff is like, I'm the greatest magician, and Eris is like, no the fuck you ain't. And then eventually at the end of the episode, he's like, who's the fuck's the greatest magician? And Eris just glazes Rudy for like the last 5 minutes of the episode. And that's when Cliff kind of gets it. He's like, oh, she's in love with him. And then you learn that Chris is a big is a big person in the Millis religion. So that's probably going to come into play. You see Cliff, you see Zanoba, who Rudy met when he rescued Lilia and Aisha from the, what was the name of that kingdom? I can't remember, but he rescues them there. You see Beta Gotti, he's the guy with the forearms. He's going to be important later. You see the girl that was walking with Orsted when Orsted killed Rudy, and she's the reason that Rudy is not dead, like fully dead. She basically convinces Orsted to bring him back. Who else do you see? You see Ariel, you see Luke, you see Sylphie again. Also, nice Sylphie reference. We got a lot of like callbacks to a lot of things, like Rudy's worrying about Sylphie, talking about Eris, you know, a lot of like things to like, if you watch the anime or if you read the thing, it was like really nice. Like I find myself smiling a lot to end that episode. Who else did we see? Oh, we saw Rainier and Persia, the two. Is it Persia? I'm probably saying I don't know the name wrong, but the two Beastkin people are going to be like, who are going to have a role in the story. Who else did we see? I don't know. I can't remember right now. But we saw like a lot of characters going to be big once Rudius enters the academy, and oh boy. I think the toughest part about talking about this episode is like, I'm gonna try not to spoil everything. Like I want to just spill my guts out, but I can't. But it was a great episode. The one thing I really thought they dropped the ball with was Sara. Okay. I know there's still a little bit left in Sara's story after she left Rudy that needs to be talked about, and I'm not going to talk about it here. I'm actually going to do a reaction video to, I believe it's Annie News. He talks about Sara's story, and it's going to be spoilery, but I think it just needs to be mentioned, because now that, you know, we've left volume 7 behind and we're going into the Roanoa Magic Academy, probably I guess the most important part of the story in terms of who Rudy meets, what Rudy accomplishes, because where in Roanoa, Rudy's basically gonna spend the rest of his life there, like basically. So that's your spoiler for the thing. But you know, Rudy's still gonna be moving around because things still need to get done. But we're basically seeing, just once Rudy parks his butt there, that's it. Better get used to Roanoa, because that's it. So I'm gonna react to it with Annie News, and we're gonna react to it. I'm gonna drop them both at the same time, this video and the Annie News video, because it's gonna be important that you see both and have Sara's story fully finished, because I think they just need to be mentioned. Because volume 7, I know this raises a lot in the community. Volume 7, after the gut punch Eris leaves Rudy with, is so important, because while it may not cure Rudy, it definitely gets him climbing the ladder or going up the stairs or walking forward, whatever other analogy you want to use. It starts Rudy on the path to the rest of the story. Like, I know Sara wasn't included in the web novel, but she's such a great addition to the light novel. Suzanne as well. I found myself really missing her, because I know I've waxed and glazed about her enough, but Suzanne, every time she talked, when you really think about it, it was like very important. And what a great way to use a side character who doesn't really have a lot of impact to the story, even though we will see Counter Arrow again at some point in the story. Maybe not this season, but we will see them down the line. What a great way to use a bunch of side characters. So anyway, guys, that was my review, I guess, or review to episode 4, The Letter of Invitation. A fantastic episode. Another showcase of why Mushoku Tensei is one of the greatest anime, one of the greatest isekai out there. Also, we got to see a lot of mental training from Rudius, because Elena out here getting ran through every night, and Rudy was struggling, but you know, he got ED, so there's not really that much he can do about it, even though he does try a couple times. And also you get this like, you see like Elena is very comfortable with Rudy, so to speak, because I think she's not dumb. She knows she's not, even before like Rudy straight up said it in front of her, she knows that he has a condition, or else, you know, she definitely would have known if Rudy was like, oh, he's all about me, you know. So and also a fantastic use. I can't forget if they mentioned this in the light novel or not, but Elena Lies is smart in how she does it. She does like reverse prostitution, where I think she puts out like a quest, and then she gets with the dude, she fucks him, and then she pays him. It's like, and that's the quest. I think she puts it through. And like I said, there's a reason for why she does that. Mushoku Tensei does nothing without a point. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. I rambled on right there for probably the last 2 minutes, but episode 5. The Roanoa Magic Academy. We're gonna see Rudy start his academy life, and trust me, it's not going to be boring like you think it probably is going to be, especially from other guys where the MC goes to school. So anyway, guys, that was my review of episode 4. Episode 5, see you guys next week. There will be another reaction video about Sara's story from Any News, so be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna drop them both at the same time later tonight. So take care of yourself. See you guys next week. Work on that Bakugo video is steadily progressing, so pretty soon here I'm gonna start live streaming once I feel comfortable enough that, at least from where I don't want to show you a part of the story because I want you guys to see that for the first time, but once I get to a part I feel comfortable, I'm gonna live stream that so that we can talk and edit. We can talk while I edit, and we can talk about whatever. Also, I did my first live stream with Any Day Anime from Twitch, when had me on this show a few weeks back. So I just returned the favor. We threw out a few hot takes. My hot take was Black Clover is better than My Hero Academia, and I am prepared to defend that statement whenever. So see you guys later. Bye, guys.